It's a hamster wheel of constantly churning out content that you just hope someone sees. And that is one of the reasons that social media, to me, it's not necessarily the best investment of your time or energy if you have a limited amount to spend, when there are other options out there that last longer, have a bigger impact, and mean more and can do more to boost your bottom line. Hey, friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social Podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm here to help you market your business in a genuine way that works without wasting your precious time. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some genuine conversation for the good of your biz. Hey, my Feel Good friend, and welcome to the Feel Good Social Podcast. I'm your host, Kinsey, and I'm stoked to be in your earbuds today because we are talking about what I firmly believe is the best form of content that you can invest your time, energy, and money into as a solopreneur, as a business owner, as any type of content creator. This is what I believe you will get the best ROI out of, right? This is what will get you the best results, especially compared to the amount of time, energy, and money that you put into it. This is better than social media. This is better than YouTube. This is better than blogging. And not only do I have logical reasons as to why this is better, but I also have personal experience and tangible results that I have seen from creating this type of content myself. And at this point, you might be like, Kins, I kind of have a few guesses as to what type of content you're talking about. And my friend, you're probably right, but I still know that this episode is going to help you if you have been wondering, how do I get off the content creation wheel, just churning out content that doesn't get me results, and instead start focusing my time, energy, and money on the thing that will matter, that will actually boost my bottom line, that will actually make a difference for my business. So before we dive in, I just want to remind you that if you love the Feel Good Social Podcast, please share it with a biz buddy who could also use to listen to it, and leave us 5 stars or a friendly review on whatever platform you're listening to it on, because I would truly love to hear from you. And it really does help us to continue spreading our Feel Good message and growing our Feel Good community across the globe. Okay, let's go ahead and dive right in. Have you been feeling frustrated trying to get ChatGPT to sound like you? You know this is an awesome tool you can use for so many things in your business, but you're tired of wasting time going back and forth only to end up with generic copy that sounds like a robot wrote it. Our new brand persona for ChatGPT mini course will help you hone your brand's unique voice with the help of ChatGPT, so you can get ChatGPT to dish up content ideas that are perfect for your brand and write copy that sounds just like you. With this quick, easy, and actionable mini course, we'll walk you through the process of training ChatGPT for your brand. So in less than an hour, you can turn ChatGPT into your amazing new assistant, content creator, copywriter, brainstormer at a minuscule fraction of the cost. So why wait? Sign up for our brand persona for ChatGPT mini course right now at feelgoodsocial.com/mini course. And in less than an hour, we'll get your ChatGPT to sound just like your brand and work authentically for your business. All right, my friend, I'm just going to cut to the chase. Drum roll, please. The best type of content that you can invest your time, energy, and money into right now is podcasting. And before you roll your eyes and think, okay, Kinsey, well, of course you think that. I mean, you've been podcasting for 4+ years now. You have 2 freaking podcasts. You are pretty much a pro and like in love with podcasting. Obviously, you think that podcasting is the best type of content that I could invest my time and money into. Okay, yes, I am slightly biased, probably, when it comes to podcasting because I do have 2 shows. I've had the Feel Good Social podcast for 4 years, and we just started our new Authentic AI for Entrepreneurs podcast. So I have a lot of experience. I obviously love podcasting myself. But the reason that I'm bringing this up today and the reason that I love it so much, and I want to encourage you to consider maybe doing some form of podcasting for your business, is because I have seen the results. I know logically why podcasting is performing better than any other type of content that you could invest your time, energy, and money into. And I have actually seen tangible results, not just from my Feel Good Social podcast that I've done for 4+ years now, 100,000 plus downloads. How many episodes are we at? Like over 200 episodes for the Feel Good Social podcast. Yes, over the years, I have gotten new students for my online courses. I have gotten new one-to-one coaching clients. I have gotten new content creation clients, right? Like I have seen monetary results, as well as grown my online following and community. A lot of people on Instagram have followed me from the podcast. A lot of people who joined my membership came to me through the podcast and continue listening to the podcast. Like, I freaking love how the Feel Good Social podcast has grown my community, has grown my online presence, and has given me even monetary results, right? Has boosted my bottom line. And I will say that within the last few months, mere months of starting the Authentic AI for Entrepreneurs podcast, and we're only like 10 episodes in this week, I think. Like, it is crazy the results that I have already seen from starting a new podcast only a few months ago, and we're only 10 episodes deep. I have already grown my Instagram following from the podcast. I have already made sales from the podcast. I've already made references and referrals from this podcast that is so brand spanking new. And I'm like, wow, this is crazy. Like, not only the results I've seen from my long-term podcast that I started, before podcasting became kind of trendy or whatever it is these days, but also just recently starting a new podcast, I'm still seeing these freaking results, right? So we are going to dive into the nitty-gritty of exactly why podcasting is really the best form of content that you can create. I'm going to give you tangible reasons and not just continue talking about myself and my own results. But I just want to say that if you've been thinking about starting a podcast, my friend, I am all for it because I really have seen results myself, and I know you will too. So let's start out this episode by just talking a little bit about content creation in general and the different forms of content you might want to create for your business and how you really actually can choose the best one for you. Because it is true. While I'm over here tooting podcasting's horn or whatever it is, I also want to make sure that you are making the best choice for you in your business. So content creation, let's talk about it. Well, these days, in this digital age, my friend, it really is important to establish your online presence as a business. We can't just rely on the brick and mortar business method anymore. Even if you are a brick and mortar business, you still want to establish your online presence, not only so that you can reach more people across the globe, right? It's just being online as a business owner expands your customer base to the entire world, pretty much, right? Like, that is amazing. But also, being online makes your business more findable, more approachable, easier to get to know, love, and trust. Easier to attract your ideal customers, easier to have conversations with your ideal customers, and also easier then to make sales and boost your bottom line. And a huge cornerstone of establishing your online presence is content creation. Content creation does allow you to share value with your ideal customers, to attract them, become magnetic to them, to allow them to get to know, like, and trust you. And ultimately, content creation does the most to continue growing your online following and keeping that ball rolling. So when it comes to what type of content you could create for your business, there's lots of different options. The big shiny one, of course, is social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called. Social media is the shiny object of content creation that everyone is like, oh, I need to start an Instagram account. I need to start posting so that I can go viral and grow my following to 1 million and then just make sales from creating content and all that stuff. Like, yes, I will fully admit that social media is awesome for helping you to have conversations with your ideal customers, right? It can help to boost your online presence. A lot of people do find businesses through Instagram and whatnot. I love social media for showing a little behind the scenes into my brand and allowing my people to get to know who I really am. Social media is great. However, it does take a lot of time, energy, and money. Like, how much freaking time do you spend writing Instagram captions every week, right? Or maybe you just don't have the time and you don't do it. How much time do you spend recording TikTok videos and editing the Instagram reel videos and then writing the captions or choosing the photos or creating the graphics and then posting them? And the most disheartening part of social media is spending all of this time and energy and heart putting together a social media post only to post it and hear crickets. Like either no one likes it or just a few people like it. But then after 24 hours, it's kind of gone anyway, right? And hardly anyone sees it anyway. And then you just spent all this time and energy creating do much to boost your bottom line or establish your online presence. And at that point, you're just like on to creating the next post. It's a hamster wheel of constantly churning out content that you just hope someone sees. And that is one of the reasons that social media to me, while I love it for certain things, and I do think it's great, it's not necessarily the best investment of your time or energy in your content strategy if you have a limited amount to spend, if it is hard for you to create content. I personally think that a lot of people spend way too much time and energy and money on social media content creation when there are other options out there that last longer, that have a bigger impact, and that mean more and can do more to boost your bottom line. So another type of content you could create is YouTube videos. And this is kind of the secondary shiny object of the content creation world, right? Like you have probably heard someone say video content is king or queen, right? Like a lot of people are pushing for video content, whether that is, TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. And I will say that YouTube is awesome. Like Google owns it. YouTube videos can show up on Google searches. Like it is great for SEO and searchability, findability. But if you're anything like me, it takes you way longer to create a video, and especially a optimized YouTube video, a strategic YouTube video that isn't just like an Instagram live where you just go live and you hope it goes well, then you post it and you forget about it and then you don't have to do any editing or anything like that. Like with YouTube videos, and especially the most strategic ones that get watched the most, there really is a strategy that goes into it, right? You need to start your videos with a very attention grabbing hook. Often you need to use somewhat clickbaity thumbnails to get people to click and watch. You need to edit it together so it's quick moving and it keeps flowing and it keeps giving value, like pow, pow, pow. Like that's kind of the YouTube strategy that does work. And for me, that type of strategy takes a lot of time and energy to create. And it feels a little icky to me sometimes. And so YouTube is not necessarily my favorite form of content, even though it does work well for a lot of people. The other thing that I don't necessarily love about YouTube is the attention span. It's a well-known fact that people will watch YouTube videos from like 1 to 5 minutes. And if you get them to watch YouTube video longer than 5 minutes, yeah, that's pretty impressive actually. So you can usually depend on people to watch and pay attention to your YouTube videos for up to 5 minutes max. And that to me is it's great if you want to deliver quick, fast value, but it's not necessarily my style when it comes to delivering content. And I'll get to that in a little bit when we start to talk about podcasts, right? But I really like to spend a little bit more time with people and develop deeper connections with people. So then we land on blogging is another like classic type of content that you could create for your business, right? Like blogging goes way back. It's so popular. And despite, popular comments that might be made, I don't think that blogging is dead. I think blogging is a really great type of content creation that you can implement to boost your website's SEO, to add value to people who land on your website, to be able to share blogs in collaboration with different other types of content, right? Like Pinterest or Instagram or anything like that. Blogging is a great form of content, especially if you have it in collaboration in your strategy with another form of content, like a social media content strategy or something. But the reason that I say that is because blogging is a very oversaturated type of content at this point. There are so many blogs out there. Like every freaking website pretty much has a blog on it. And that means the SEO for blogging is super, super competitive. So it can be really, really difficult for people to find you solely based on your blog, which means pretty much Google SEO. It's hard to rank on Google SEO because there are so many content pieces out there and blogs out there. It's such a competitive market that if blogging was your sole content strategy, man, I hope you have a really good SEO strategy to go along with that, because it can be really hard to be found using your blog alone. And that's again why I said it's good to use it in conjunction with a different type of content strategy. So that brings us to podcasting, my friend. And the reason that I love podcasting kind of combats the reasons that I complained about these other types of content. The first reason that I love podcasting is because the SEO is freaking fantastic. Yes, there are a lot of podcasts out there, and it does seem like in the past year or two, everyone seems to be starting a podcast or has a podcast. However, there are still way less podcasts out there than there are blogs. There's still way less podcasts than there are websites, Instagram accounts, YouTube channels. Like, it is way more easy to be found via someone searching for your podcast or searching for an episode. If someone is searching for a topic on a podcast topic, right? Like content creation or AI technology or whatever it is, it's so much easier for your podcast to pop up, whether it's your show or an individual episode, than it would be for your Instagram account to show up, or your website, or your blog, or even your YouTube channel. Podcasting SEO is still the best out there. I fully believe it. And I have heard from my new Authentic AI students for our brand persona mini course, like, I think that 3 or 4 of them have found me from the podcast, which is amazing because I launched it like one time really quickly. We had a few people join and it was wonderful. And, a good amount of those people were new to my audience and had only found me through the podcast recently because they searched for a topic and my podcast or one of my episodes popped up in their feeds. How cool is that? And so the SEO is super awesome when it comes to podcasting. There's way less competition out there, especially at this point. The second reason that I love podcasting is because the content lasts for so much longer than social media posts, right? Like, if you are spending time creating content for Instagram, for TikTok, for Pinterest even, which Pinterest is a good, like, longer lasting form of social media content creation, but it still doesn't last quite as long as podcasts. Because I will tell you that people find me through podcast episodes from way back in the day. Whenever I'm searching for a podcast topic, an episode will pop up from 2019. But if it's a topic that is kind of evergreen, that I don't need a lot of updated information on, and it is specifically what I'm looking for, I will listen to that podcast for sure from 2019, right? And I've had people do that for my podcast, the Feel Good Social podcast, as well. Not only will they listen to episodes from way back, not only will those episodes show up in search from way back 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, but also when people find my show, they will often go back and listen to old episodes on purpose, which is kind of unheard of, right? These days, everyone seems to be wanting the newest information and all the different stuff. And it blows my mind whenever anyone says, oh, I'm going to go back and listen to episode 1 of the Feel Good Social podcast, or, oh, I listened to episode 20 about brand voice the other day. It was super helpful. I'm like, great. I'm so glad that content is still out there and still helping people, because I'd forgotten that episode existed, but good. I'm so glad you found it, right? But that is what is so awesome about podcasting, is because Instagram posts are gone within like 24 hours normally. Same with TikTok. And you're just kind of crossing your fingers, hoping that someone sees it. And if they don't, you just wasted however many hours creating that post only to have it kind of blow into the wind or whatever it is. YouTube, definitely, it will last a little longer than social media posts, same with blog posts, but I really do think that podcasting, the format of it, people don't mind going back and listening to old shows, which is just amazing and kind of like the opposite of a lot of other types of content. Okay, the third reason I do love podcasting is because people actually pay attention, my friend. think about how people consume content on social media. They're scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. You get maybe 2-3 seconds and you need something that grabs their attention right away. And then you better hold that attention. And it's really hard to hold that attention because there's so many other content options out there that they can just scroll on to the next post so easily, right? Like it is very, very difficult to hold people's attention. And the same thing, honestly, with YouTube. I already mentioned that. Like you're lucky. You are lucky if you get more than 5 minutes of someone's time. People will skip ahead, just get the most important pieces of information out of that video. It's normal to have like chapters within the video of like the highlighted points and whatnot so that people can get that information as quickly as possible and keep moving on. With blogs, people are just kind of scanning blogs most of the time, looking at the big titles, just skimming for the information that they need, and then they're moving on. But when it comes to podcasting, people expect to put their earbuds in and go on a walk, to put their earbuds in and do the dishes, to listen to their podcast while they're in the shower and their hands are all wet and they can't skip ahead it even if they wanted to, right? And so with podcasting, it's already assumed that they're going to be spending more time. They're going to be paying attention to what you say, the conversation. It's going to be a conversational tone. And they're not really expecting to skip forward unless it's like an ad, which is kind of normal, but people are expecting that too. But still, even then, people will spend 20 minutes to 2 hours listening to podcasts and paying full attention to podcasts. And it's one of those really cool, crazy, rare things these days, especially when everyone's attention span is so minimal. And it's how we can really get into the heads of our ideal customers, prove our points, give them more value, and get them to know, like, and trust us, pay attention to us, and want to buy from us, right? The attention span when it comes to podcasting is one of the most valuable things that I want to drive home for you, because you will not find that anywhere else. You will not find that with any other type of content you create, my friend. And that's one of those main reasons of why you should definitely think about starting a podcast. The next reason that I truly love podcasting is it is way more intimate than any other type of content that you could put out there. Like, yes, video content, people seeing your face and getting to look into your eyes, like that's really intimate. And that's another reason that people really push for video content. But I will definitely say hearing someone's voice, and especially in this intimate kind of one-to-one way in your earbuds, feels so personal. How many people who you listen to their podcast, do you feel like you know them well? Do you feel like you know you're not friends, but you kind of feel like you are friends, even though it's like a one-sided situation? Like, how many times have you kind of like laughed out loud with a podcast host as they like made a joke on their podcast and you felt like you were in the room with them and you're laughing with them? I feel like the people who I listen to their podcast, I feel like they're my friends. And if I saw them on the street, I could just go up and talk to them. And yeah, I'd feel weird because I know logically that we're not friends. And at the same time, they've impacted my life. They have inspired me. They've motivated me. They've felt so relatable to me. I feel like as if they've heard me and they know me, right? And that's what happens when you podcast, because hearing someone's voice in this intimate way, paying attention to them for a long period of time, man, it really does do the most to develop know, like, and trust with your people and develop community with them, right? And so that is why I love podcasting so much, my friend. I have been podcasting for 4+ years now, and I truly have met some of my favorite people through my podcast. I have met up with people from the internet who found me through my podcast, who I did not know in real life, and I would not know to this day unless they landed on my Feel Good Social podcast. And we really have become friends in real life, right? I've grown my community. I have had my bottom line boosted for both of my podcasts. And I truly do feel like I have made more connections through my podcast than I have with any other type of content that I've created. So that's why I love podcasting so much. And I hope that you might be thinking about starting your own show. I will say at this point, we definitely need to address the fact that podcasting does take time, energy, sometimes money. It's really not that much of a monetary investment unless you do want to invest in like an editor and stuff like that, right? But like it's really about finding a way to balance the time and energy versus the money you spend, right? But podcasting can be a good amount of work. And I think it's more worth it than spending that same amount of time and energy on social media, than spending that same amount of time and energy banging your head against your keyboard, writing a blog post that won't even help you get found necessarily. You know, it's better than trying to edit your freaking YouTube video and spending hours and hours to end up with a 5-minute video that like people troll you about anyway. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, yes, podcasting is work, and I still think it's worth the work based on the ROI for sure. So when it comes to starting your podcast, I don't want to overwhelm you with all the how-to or anything like that, but I do just want to say, just start by brainstorming. What do I want my podcast to be about? Who do I want my podcast to be for? And how will this integrate into my business in a way that will be worth it for the ROI? Do I want to use my podcast to grow my email list or make leads? And if so, how? What topics do I want to talk about that will be super valuable? And who am I going to be talking about these topics to? Brainstorming all these things and starting your podcast with a strategy that makes sense, that is a great place to start. And then slowly starting to work your way into learning the ins and outs. And I do have to say, I am super excited to announce that I am actually creating a course with our Authentic AI course library called AI Powered Podcast Launchpad. So this is going to help walk you through the process of creating your podcast strategy and brainstorming ideas, outlining your strategy with the help of ChatGPT. I'll be sharing different AI-powered editing softwares and tools that can help you edit in a way that's approachable and easy and understandable and isn't going to take up too much of your time. And I'll also be walking you through the steps of actually launching your show, planning your episodes, interviewing guests, all of that different stuff with the help of AI technology. And I'm going to be launching this on Black Friday. So if you're interested in our new AI-powered podcast launchpad, head to feelgoodsocial.com/courses. That's where you'll find the waitlist where you can add your name, and you'll be the first to know when this is available so that you can launch your show with confidence and little help from AI. All right, my friend, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will catch you next time I catch you. Thanks so much for listening, my friend. For show notes and a whole lot of other awesome freebies, visit feelgoodsocial.com. Simply go to feelgoodsocial.com for all the goods.